Good evening. Welcome once again to Republican Update, brought to you by the Rockland County Republican Committee. My name is Vincent Reeder. I'm the chairman of the Rockland County Republican Committee and your host for this segment of Republican Update. Once again, we're both pleased and privileged to have with us our candidate for the 17th Congressional District, Christopher Day. Chris has been on our show before, and this is kind of a follow-up to his last conversation with us. Well, Chris, welcome once again back on our show.
Thanks for having me.
And here it is. We're running into the tail end of the summer. How is your campaign? How about giving us an update?
Well, we've been out there all summer since we started getting organized with volunteers on the ground, meeting voters, going face to face. We're bringing things to them and getting our name out there. And the reaction's just been incredible. In Rockland County, overwhelming. I rarely encounter anyone who says anything other than I already support you. And in Westchester, we've gotten past the point of the initial introductions, and now we're really making inroads in terms of the issues and getting that face-to-face with voters. They're not used to that. They haven't had that back and forth with their congressional representative for so long, and they're very excited to see someone come by and ask them what they think and be willing to engage with them. We've got folks out at train stations. I'm up early going to train stations, going door to door. We're doing everything that you got to do to really get that grassroots going, and it's really paying off in dividends in terms of just the reaction out there. I've been running into my bumper stickers on cars I don't know as the summer's gone on. I see that more and more, which is a great sign that people are, if you're willing to put a sticker in your car, you're pretty supportive of the person, so It's good to see.
And it's you're progressing with your campaign when you say to people, "Oh, I've met you before." That means you're doing a second time around there.
Yes, yeah. I had a few of those. Even just yesterday, I was up at Croton Harmon and had someone come on the train station. "Oh, I met you at Peekskill," and I was like, "Yeah, I remember you. We talked about the military," and she was like, "Oh, yeah, we did." And just, that second time around, they really appreciate that you're still out there.
Yes. Let me just think back for a while. Back in April, you released your tax returns. And at that time, we were talking about your opponent, why she hasn't submitted a tax return. What's happening with that? Has she done so as yet?
I released my tax returns because I believe in full transparency. I think it's important. There are some release forms that Congress has, but we're talking, you can estimate your income at a range from anywhere from $100,000 to like $10 million. These are, the people need to know who you're working for, how you're getting your money, what you do with it. It's a matter of openness in government. I challenged her to release her tax returns, and she has not just not refused to do so, she's refused to acknowledge it. She's refused to respond. I think that people deserve, especially someone who has gained such personal wealth in the time that she's been in office, people deserve to know where that wealth is coming from. It's not a complicated process. She just has to call her accountant. See, I do my own taxes usually, so it's more difficult for me. I got to go through and do everything. She's just got to call her accountant and get it done. I don't see why she'd hold off unless it makes people think that there's something to hide when you refuse to share those sort of details. I'm not asking to see, what the inside of her house looks like. I just want to know what her financial records are, where her money's coming from, on what side her bread's being buttered. And I think it's only fair to have that sort of openness for.
And here we are in mid-August, and still no reply.
And it's funny, I haven't scrolled back on her public statements, but I'm betting that when Mitt Romney was refusing to release his tax returns, I'm betting she was saying that he should release them. So it's kind of shocking to see Democrats, who have in the past said, "Oh, 1% are refusing to release their tax return, bad thing," somehow being okay with this particular 1%er not releasing her tax returns.
And we wonder, what her position is on the current status on the international crisis going on in Iraq and with the Gaza Strip and things of that nature. Have you had any idea where she's at on this?
She's been kind of hemming and hawing on both. I'm as many folks watching this know, I'm a veteran of Iraq and
a combat veteran.
Yeah,
yes.
Combat veteran. Yeah, and I've spoken on the issue. I actually served in the area where this ISIL group first started or came across from Syria and Tal Afar. And back then it was pacified, basically. This is 08, and it was very calm. To see what's happened to it is disturbing, and more so than that is to see how long we've sort of dithered away our time as a country.
And they're growing.
And we've allowed them to grow to the point where they're the group, the Yazidis, the people that are isolated on that mountain, are being massacred and starved to death. These people who provided a huge number of our interpreters, one of my interpreters was a Yazidi, because they were a persecuted minority and they really supported the American invasion. To let them off to the wolves as we think about what we should do and hesitate and hem and haw, and finally the president takes some sort of supposed action by ordering some airstrikes, some limited airstrikes. Now, I don't want to get back into a ground war there. Our part there is done. But had he acted sooner, and had the purpose of the airstrikes been to help the Iraqis retake territory, instead now he's talking about giving safe passage to the people who are being persecuted to get out of the area. Why don't we try to help the Iraqi infantry get their way back to that area and get these folks out? We don't want Iran playing in there. We don't want Saudi Arabia feeling that they have to do something because Iran's there. These are all complex foreign policy issues that I have personal experience with. I have yet to see anything from our Congresswoman on Iraq.
She's been silent.
She's been silent, and it's kind of disturbing. It's such a huge issue. Someone who's been in government for 26 years feels no need to come to the public on that. When it comes to Gaza, she's in a position to affect funding for the Palestinian Authority, who is aligned with Hamas. They're a dual thing. Essentially, our taxpayer dollars are going to Hamas right now. And she keeps talking about how the funding will be under threat if it continues. It should have been under threat if it continues for 24 hours after they aligned with each other. We shouldn't be funding a terrorist organization. The FAA should not have banned flights into Israel for any period of time. Silence on those counts from our Congresswoman. I've been out there in front saying that this is a terrorist group that needs to be stopped, that Israel needs our support. And though she has projected an aura of being pro-Israel and has some reputation as such, she's refused to take any steps on Israel that contradict the administration, which kind of is just par for the course. There's a real need for independence in our representative here, and we're not getting that. We're getting our goals as a district subordinated to the goals of the Obama administration. And I don't think anyone wants that.
Well, like I said, you would think by now she would come out with some sort of statement. Certainly her constituents deserve some answers of where does she stand?
Yeah.
And why hasn't she taken a position? At least tell us that.
Yeah, some sort of something. She's supposed to be representing us. I hope that, she should be engaging with her electorate. You see, for example, this summer, I collected petitions. We had several community groups get together to collect petitions to create a Preserve Hudson line.
Correct. Which,
the groups from Ramapo, from Clarkstown, some folks from across the river as well, focused on controlling the development, dealing with zoning, maintaining the suburban character of the area. Real grassroots effort by citizens in her district. And just the other day, I got a series of challenges to this, legal challenges. She's trying to get this line booted off the ballot, submitting thousands of objections, thousands of pages of objections.
And you submitted quite a number of signatures.
Almost about 5,000 signatures. There's 3,500 required. And this is, I didn't collect these signatures. I collected some, but thousands came from these community groups. And she won't engage on these issues. She wouldn't speak to these community groups in the past. And now, when they try to make their voice heard at the ballot, she's just sending lawyers to go take it.
You wouldn't think it doesn't bode very well for her to try to stop a line and stop people from voting on it.
You would think that would be the case. Yeah. And we're confident in those petitions, and we expect to have that line be on the ballot this fall. And it's unfortunate, though, that she's taken this tactic of making lawyers silence the voters as opposed to letting the voters speak.
I noticed that early on in the campaign, you had issued several challenges her to debate. As I said, that's going way back as to March and April. Yeah. Here we are again in mid-August. Where do we stand on that? What type of response have you received from your opponent?
The silence is deafening, as they say. It's not even whether I get a response. I get why she wouldn't want to respond to me personally. I mean, I am her opponent after all. But I know that of at least one debate, I've heard mention of two. The News 12 actually has mentioned to me that they plan on organizing one. They haven't gotten the details of it yet, but there's another debate organized by Grace Point Gospel Fellowship in New City along with WRCR Radio, and they have the date set. The date happens to be one day before my wedding. I'm getting married the 10th, the debate's the 9th. I talked to my fiance, she said go ahead. I said yes to the debate. Though I'm getting married the next day, I said yes because this is a pillar of our community, organizing debate along with Rockland County's local radio station. And I think it's important to have a free exchange. Now,
Is there a debate by the Journal News as well?
There will be the likely one. I haven't talked to them yet on it, but I expect that to be organized as well. The point is, the folks from Grace Point, this is a church in the district she represents, have reached out to her office on numerous occasions. They have not even received a reply, not even the courtesy of a reply. If she doesn't want to debate, say so. Have the courage to stand up there and say, I don't want to exchange my ideas with an opponent in public.
No response.
But no response to a church in your own district. I don't know how to take that other than as somehow feeling that you're above the idea of discourse. And as a representative, you should always be replying to your constituents. So, I'm there. I plan on being there on the 9th of October. And if there's a podium with my opponent at it or not, or if there's a podium with no one at it, I plan on standing there and
you'll debate the empty chair.
I will debate the empty chair if necessary.
Right. What other exciting things have been going on? I know you've really got a great grassroots campaign going, and volunteers are coming from all over.
Yes.
And I'm very, very happy to say that a lot of them are not registered Republicans. You've got several Democrats working for you, independents, conservatives. It's really starting to mushroom up for you. What direction do you feel that your campaign is at this point in time?
Yeah, the diversity of support is really incredible. I'm not sure if this was released before or after my last appearance, but I've got an endorsement from the Rockland County Building and Trades Construction Union, Building Construction Trades Unions.
Well, we didn't have it last time we spoke.
So those are a traditional Democratic organization, endorsed my opponent last time. Their folks were out there collecting petitions for our campaign, and they're going to be out there this fall. And this is a union, and a trade union is endorsing a Republican. Diversity of support there. I received an endorsement from the Combat Veterans for Congress just last week, which we have yet to formally announce, but it's a group focused on getting in fiscally responsible combat veterans into Congress. We're getting a lot of traction on all sides of the political spectrum. The amount of Democrats coming forward in our volunteer ranks, both sides of the river, is incredible. There's a real desire, for change and for a new focus. And one of the themes that's been resonating is the idea that the federal government has been ignoring all these big issues that only they can deal with. The federal government is not dealing with our debt. It's not dealing with getting our economy going and bringing higher quality jobs back to America, getting people, actually feel some success again in this country, preserving the future for future generations, making sure our kids can have the same opportunities. These are the big things. Like border security, they're doing nothing on border security. We'll make sure that we protect American jobs and American security by making sure the border's secure. By kicking these cans down the road, they're distracting themselves with local issues. They've inserted themselves into zoning in Westchester by sending HUD in to basically declare that you have to build X, Y, or Z in these places over the objections of the area. They've created religious land use zoning laws that are affecting things in Rockland because they're preventing local zoning from being in effect. Common Core is out there, and the federal government is tying federal funding to the Common Core standards, which prevents any independence on the part of the states for education. Because they're afraid to tackle the big issues, they're tackling these issues that any level of government could deal with.
And speaking of Common Core, she's even challenged those petitions.
Yeah, she has. She's taken a pro-Common Core stance and objecting to the Stop Common Core petitions organized by Common Core activists. And it's what people here want is they want to see an independent-minded representative taking the federal government to take the tasks that no one else can deal with. No, New York State cannot handle the border. Rockland County, Westchester counties can't balance our national budget. We can't control trade policy. We need the federal government to deal with these things and then get out of the education. Stop Common Core. Get it out of there. Get out of our zoning. Let us zone and focus on the big issues. Don't be afraid to tackle them. There's a fear amongst incumbents, I feel, that if they take on these hard issues and actually try to go to notch a win for America as opposed to notching a win for their donor base, they're going to be taken out. And you see it every time. It's all based on elective cycles, all based on fundraising, trying to attach this to that bill to make sure someone votes against something so you can raise off it on an email later. It's not the right way to govern, and people have gotten to a point of so much frustration that they're prepared for a change, whether they're right or left or center of the political spectrum.
And your opponent seems to support President Obama's agenda.
Yes.
And she's been silent on many things. And I noticed in today's New York Post where even Hillary Clinton is now criticizing the Obama policies.
Yeah, even principled Democrats are stepping forward and saying where there are mistakes, they're willing to make critiques. our representative is not willing to do that. It's just a little bit of independence is all we ask for in our representatives. We don't always agree with everything that one party has, and let's agree that we can all represent ourselves properly by having someone who stands for the values of the district, not for the values of any one particular group that's not in the district.
And maybe you could tell our viewing audience, what do you have coming up, say in the next 30 to 60 days on your campaign?
Yeah, well, August 26th, we have a fundraiser going on at Zapata's Mexican Restaurant in Palisades, which is down at the lower end of Orangetown. It's 7 to 9 p.m. Unlimited margaritas and sangrias and Mexican dinner.
That's interesting.
It's good. You can make sure you call a cab on the way home if you have too much. But that'll be a great event. Fun again, August 26th, and you can go more information on the website www.voteforday.com. We've got another event planned for Stony Point. I think it's coming up on the 25th of September. That'll be posted on the website and on social media as well. And we're going to be continuing. What we really need is we need more volunteers. We've got hundreds, literally 200, 225 volunteers on our roster right now. We need more. We need people who are willing to make phone calls when we start up phone banks. We need people who are willing to walk door to door, people willing to go to the train stations, willing to go to grocery stores. And we've been doing that every weekend, and we want to make that effort even bigger. We want to make it clear that the voice of the people overpowers the voice of those corporate PACs that are donating to my opponent. They overcome the voice of all the incumbents in Congress. We can actually get things done on a personal level here in this district. And that's what we need. That's what we really need. We need more involvement. You could go to www.voteforday.com/volunteer.
Yeah, we'll put that up on the end of the program as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also, what is the price of the fundraiser, the August one?
Sure. The one in August is $125 a head. But if you volunteer, dinner and
margaritas
and sangria. If you're a volunteer, you get a big discount though. So it's another incentive to volunteer to get yourself some.
So you can check that out also on your website.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what else we got here? Let's see. Besides that, on your campaign, I know your very, very able-bodied assistant is also your future wife.
Yes.
Gal is really working very hard for you. I mean, where you see her, and she's working extremely hard for you. Do you find this as causing you any kind of problems already before you get married?
No, not yet. It's it's good training because I have to listen to her for the campaign, and I have to listen to her in the household too. So, no, Jen, my fiance, has been absolutely incredible. I mean, just the fact that she said yes to the idea of me running when we're getting married in October was enough. But now she's my #1 advocate. Again, like you said, she's had everything. I think the only thing she's worn for the last few months is a Chris Day for Congress T-shirt, except for when she's going to a formal event. So I'm a blessed man to have her, and my son also just loves being out there. CJ's he gets out there, he hands palm cards.
He's going to win a lot of votes for you.
He goes up to people and say, "Vote for my dad." Hands them the palm card, and he even knows the terms for the different types of campaigning. Now he asks if we're going to go door to door or go to a grocery store. He likes the stationary events more, so he doesn't have to go walking door to door. But other than that, he's been great and having a great time. We get to have
that's great.
It's a unique experience for everyone.
And as I said, I'm an old warhorse, and I've seen a lot of campaigns, but it's always nice to see a grassroots campaign starting, as I used the term before, mushroom the way yours is.
Yeah.
And people are flocking all over. And once again, you've had several fundraisers over the past several months.
Yep.
You intend to have them right up until, I imagine, right before election
Oh,
day.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll be having events. We're looking for more meet and greets, and anyone who's able to host 10 to 20 people at their house. No requirement to donate. Just get to meet them, and if they want to give. Yeah, and those we're going to be continually organizing. We're going to have a few more of the bigger events as well. We've had a great attendance at these events. Usually 60 to 100 people, even in the middle of the summer. We had a great one this summer with Cousins Moran, the Irish rock band, was there over at up in Fields at the American Legion Post with No-Co catering. The great barbecue. I was on the grill for a little bit. Just a fun Friday night, and those sort of things. People really like that, and it's much better than my opponent had her fundraiser at $500 a head in Manhattan at the Harvard Club.
And where else?
We're doing it, of course, yeah.
Well, Chris, what I'd like to do is once again give the folks your website and how they can get in touch with you, and is there also a phone number where they might be able to reach you at?
Sure, yeah. Well, if you want to get to my website, it's www.voteforday.com. All of my social media is /ChrisDayNY, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. We even just got a Pinterest page put up for anyone who's into that. And the campaign phone number, 845-232-0801. That's 845-232-0801. Give us a call. You can sign up to volunteer. You can contribute whatever you can afford to the campaign, because these things do cost money. And we look forward to you getting involved. You sign up for our email and newsletter. And we're going to keep taking this home to November, because that's what the power of the people can do, is actually deliver a win for the district.
And let me get a plug in for the Rockland County Republican Committee. If you'd like to volunteer to work on Chris's campaign, we're going to start our phone banks probably in early September. And we're located in New City. We have a phone bank of 10 phones there, and we're at 172 South Main Street in New City. And our phone number there is area code 845-634-7100. We have a telephone answering service. You could leave your name with the operator. She'll take your name and phone number, and we'll get back to you to tell you or to ask what's a convenient time that you might be able to do it an hour or two, if you can donate to make phone calls to help Chris in his campaign, and we appreciate that very much. Chris, well, we've got a couple of minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our viewing audience?
Sure. I think that it's just important that we maintain focus on the issues. That if you have a knowledge of what's going on in this district, tell a friend, bring them to the polls, get them involved. I get so much feedback. People feel like government's left them behind, that they don't respond anymore. In the end, this whole process is a job interview process, and the people who make the hire are the people who live here. So you've got to step up and really be involved, and the more involved you are, the more the government will be responsive. And it doesn't matter how much money they have. It doesn't matter how entrenched they are. If they lose, they lose. At one man, one vote. That's how it works, and that's luckily we live in a democracy like that. So go tell your friends and get out there and spread the word, because that's how we're going to make this happen this November.
All right, Chris. One more thing. I know we've said it a number of times, but once again, give our viewing audience your background.
Sure. Yeah, I spent 4 years in the U.S. Army after I graduated from Yale University. I transferred there from Rockland Community College, actually. I was an infantry officer. I earned a Bronze Star, the Combat Infantry Badge. I served a year in Afghanistan and 2 months in Iraq as a platoon leader. I got out as a captain after serving as a senior logistics officer for my squadron. Total of 17 awards and decorations during my time in service. It's really an honor to have served, and I met a lot of great men and women in the service. After I got out, I went back to the private sector. I earned my MBA from Columbia Business School. I'm a vice president at an investment firm down in Manhattan. We focus mostly on Israeli investments. And last year, I managed my father's county executive race for Rockland County, which we managed to win, despite the registration disadvantage. Mm-hmm. And I've been basically just trying to do my best to serve my country, since I decided to go into the military. And this is just another step of that. This is me seeing that we have a lot of trouble. And I think I have the expertise needed to take on those things. I think I have the independence and the strength of will to do it. And there's an old saying in the military, if you're asking who to send me. That's what I'm saying right now. And presently you're on the Republican, Conservative, and hope to be the Preserve Hudson line. Yes, as well. That will be the three that we're on, assuming that we're able to succeed in overcoming these legal maneuverings by my opponent. Will be at minimum, it'll be Republican, Conservative, hopefully also the Preserve Hudson line as well. And you are a supporter of the Common Core? Yes, yeah. If I don't end up appearing on the Stop Common Core ballot line, it's not because I support Common Core. I definitely oppose it, and I will be making that point very clear, as I have been throughout. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. And believe it or not, our time is just it's about up, and we'd like to have you back again when we get closer to Election Day. Sure thing. You can see us each and every Tuesday evening right here at 7 o'clock. And for you folks in Westchester, you'll be seeing our show now as well, and also Orange County. Although we're not running in Orange County, but surely you must have friends that live in Rockland and Westchester. Please tell them about our great candidate for the 17th Congressional District, Chris Day. Thanks once again, Chris. Thank you. It was a pleasure having you. And thank you on behalf of the Rockland County Republican Committee. Once again, I am Vincent Rita. I bid you good evening, and thank you for watching.